Traveling is a means to success. Do subscribe Travel and Taste channel and like videos. For further videos, stay connected. Top traditional Ukrainian foods and dishes to try when you are in Ukraine Republic. Ukraine is the second largest European country, and one of the most diverse. The Carpathian Mountains boast Hungarian culinary influence, and Lviv's multicultural palate includes Jewish, Austrian, and German cooking traditions. The capital, Kiev, represents the classics of Ukrainian cuisine, while Odessa brings in the seafood goodies. Many Ukrainian dishes include meat, but vegetarians will find plenty of options too. Kalach, Ukrainian Christmas bread. Ukrainian loves their bread, and it shows on every special occasion. During the Holy Supper, Svyat in Ukrainian, on Ukrainian Christmas Eve, you can see kalach used as the Christmas table's centerpiece. Kalach is usually made by braiding strains of wheat dough and shaped into a big ring, similar to a Christmas wreath. In fact, the word kalach is a deviation of the old Slavonic word kolo, meaning circle or wheel. Kalach symbolizes prosperity, luck, and a good bounty for the upcoming year. When setting up the Christmas table, kalach is usually placed in the middle and decorated with candles in the inner ring of the bread. The decoration, including kalach, is left until Christmas Day since Ukrainian tradition requires fasting until midnight on Christmas Eve. Although this is a Christmas spread, this dish is also served with fresh fruit at funerals as a sign of the deceased's good deeds throughout their lifetime. Korovai, Ukrainian wedding bread. Instead of a wedding cake popularized in Western media, the Ukrainians have an extraordinary baked good that acts as the centerpiece at a traditional wedding in Ukraine. This lavish Ukrainian bread is explicitly made for weddings. Korovai usually consists of multiple bread tiers and intricate decorative designs that are mostly inspired by nature. Traditionally, 7 married women from 7 different places come together to create a korovai for the happy couple as a way to send their blessing to the bride and groom. Ukrainians can be pretty superstitious when it comes to korovai. It is believed that when the bread cracks during the baking process, it signifies that the marriage won't last. Besides that, widows are considered unfit for making korovai as their fate will affect the couple's marriage. The top portion of the korovai is given to the married couple. The next slice goes to the bride's mother and father. The bottom portion can be shared among visitors and band members as a symbol of good fortune and future riches. Kiev Cake. Kiev Cake is a delightful Ukrainian dessert made from cocoa, meringue, buttercream, and hazelnuts. This light and airy cake comes with delicate decorative details and meringues as toppings. The dessert first appeared in 1956 when a pastry chef tried to fix a batch of frozen cakes by spreading buttercream on top and decorating it with floral ornaments. Later, in the 1970s, the recipe was perfected with the addition of different nuts, the most popular choice being hazelnut. Walnut stuffed prunes. When people think of desserts, they usually think of cakes, sweet buns, and candy. However, there is a distinctive Ukrainian dessert that you must try at least once when you visit this country, the walnut stuffed prunes. It is made by soaking the dried prunes in water for a few hours and stuffing them with toasted walnuts. Then the prunes are topped with sugar and whipping cream, then sprinkled with chocolate and crushed walnuts. This unique summertime treat is pretty nutritious. It can provide the body with beta-carotene and vitamin K. Walnut stuffed prunes are usually served at Christmas, New Year or during the summer. Syrniki, cottage cheese pancakes. For those who enjoy a sweet, light, and healthy breakfast, Syrniki won't disappoint. Although pancakes are an everyday meal in many other nations, the ones in Ukraine still stand out with the addition of cottage cheese. Although it was developed in the 18th century, it is still extremely popular today without much alteration in the original recipe. This traditional Ukrainian dessert can be found in nearly every cafe and restaurant in this country. So be sure to order some during your visit. Nalesniki, Ukrainian cheese crepes. Here is another classic breakfast option in Ukraine that is elevated with cheese, Nalesniki. These pancakes can be filled with various ingredients, like canned berries and sweet cottage cheese. You can even top them with sour cream and extra berries. In some cases, these thin pancakes can be stuffed with savory fillings like brinza cheese, salted fish, pâtés, and mushrooms. The savory version of Nalesniki is typically eaten at the end of the main course. Nalesniki usually makes its appearance on special occasions and holidays in Ukraine, like Shrovetide or Maslenitsa. Paska, sweet Easter bread. Paska is a beautiful bread serving as an Easter tradition in countries with a religious connection to the Eastern Orthodox faith, Ukraine's most popular religion. Part of the Easter tradition involves taking this bread to church on Easter morning to receive a blessing. Paska is a milky, eggy, yeast-based bread dressed to the nines in decorations. Dough decorations include crosses, swirls, rosettes, or braids. My favorite Paska decoration involves thin braids around the edges and thick braids in the middle. The end result looks like eggs popping out of a basket. Perfect for the occasion. Pysanka, Ukrainian Easter eggs. Easter in Ukraine won't be complete without these colorful Easter eggs. The name of this treat derives from the verb pisati, which means to write or to inscribe, since the designs are written with beeswax rather than painted on. Ukraine is not the only place that carries on this Easter tradition. Several other ethnic groups in Central and Eastern European also inscribe or decorate their eggs for Easter using wax resist. Many experts believe that the art of wax resist egg decoration dates back to pre-Christian times. But since the egg shells are fragile, there are no ancient proofs of an authentic Pysanka. Pirozhki, Ukrainian hand pies. If you are looking for a simple yet filling Ukrainian lunch recipe, go for some Pirozhki. These yeast-leavened boat-shaped buns are the ultimate comfort food in this country, especially when served a hot bowl of soup. Although this dish originated in Russia, the fame of these hand pies in Ukraine is undeniable. The recipes for Pirozhki are the same in the two countries as well. Pirozhki can be baked or fried, and it is available in both sweet and savory flavors. Savory pies contain mashed potatoes, ground meat, boiled eggs, mushrooms, onions, and cabbage. On the other hand, the sweet fillings require jam, quark cheese, and fruit. Kulesha, cornmeal mush. The Ukrainians use corn flour, butter, salt, and water to make this dish. Once ready to eat, it will be sliced with a knife and served with brinza cheese, a traditional treat in Slovakia, Ukraine, Romania, and Poland, bacon, pork rinds, or mushrooms. This delicacy has several names. In the central area, it's known as mawaliga, but the Carpathians people call it kulesha. Despite the name difference in different regions, the recipe for this Ukrainian cornmeal mush remains the same. Varenyky, Ukrainian Pierogies. These soft, cheesy dumplings will satisfy your craving. Varenyky is the Ukrainian spin of the worldwide famous European dish Pierogies, and it plays a vital role in Ukrainian culture. The city of Cherkasy even dedicated a monument to this dish. Because of their crescent shape, Ukrainian ancestors equated Varenyky with the young moon and used the dish in pagan and sacrificial rituals. Farmers also believed that Varenyky could bring a plentiful crop, so they used to take some to the fields. Cottage cheese, potato, cabbage, peas, and beans are the most common traditional fillings for Varenyky. In the past, Ukrainians utilized fermented milk, or kysel moloko, to glue the dough together, setting it apart from similar pierogies from other nations. However, the locals tend to use eggs instead since they are cheaper and more accessible. This dish often makes its appearance at traditional celebrations in Ukraine, such as Christmas Eve supper. But it is also a standard everyday meal, either as a filling main course or a fun appetizer. Kutia, sweet grain pudding. When it comes to well-known holiday delicacies from Ukraine, you can't ignore Kutia. This sweet grain pudding is usually served as part of a 12-course Christmas Eve dinner, despite being created before Christianity. This yummy treat calls for wheat, almonds, poppy seeds, raisins, and fruit. Kutia can also be sweetened with honey or sugar. The way the locals consume this Christmas dish is also quite interesting. The kutia is left on the table all night with spoons for the departed ancestors after dinner. The Ukrainians also used this dish to bribe Father Frost and ensure agricultural prosperity in the following year. Banush, Ukrainian hutzil dish. This silky Ukrainian corn porridge is not only a widely enjoyed dish across Ukraine, but it is also an essential part of the traditional cuisine of this nation. Originating in the Carpathian Mountains, Banush was once linked with the hutzil minority, with males being assigned to make the meal. This traditional hutzil dish is made using maize flour and sour cream. Sometimes, it is elevated with toppings like fried bacon pieces, crispy cracklings, mushroom sauce, and crumbled brinza. Holubtsi, Ukrainian cabbage roll. Holubtsi are traditional Ukrainian cabbage rolls, especially beloved in the Carpathians. While holubtsi are usually stuffed with minced meat, the dish can be made vegetarian with plain rice or buckwheat. Cabbage is boiled to soften the leaves, which are then filled with minced pork or beef, browned onions and carrots, mushrooms, and cooked rice. Afterward, holubtsi are braised and served garnished with dill. The serving usually includes 2 to 3 pieces, as holubtsi are very filling. Deruny, Ukrainian potato pancake. There are many delicious potato dishes in Ukraine, but the most well-known one has to be these delightful fried potato pancakes. Deruny can be found at any Ukrainian restaurant across the country. However, you can easily make some at home using simple ingredients. With a soft interior and crispy exterior, Deruny is definitely a must-try for all the potato fans out there. Remember to eat the pancakes while they're still hot and pair them with a dollop of sour cream. Kotleta Po-Kyivsky, chicken Kiev. If you're craving a chicken dish, perhaps you should give chicken Kiev a try. This dish is pretty simple to make at home. Just take a flattened chicken breast, roll it in cold herb butter, cover it in breadcrumbs and fry it well. Although the modern recipe calls for cold herb butter and boneless chicken breast, it used to be made with more stuffings and bone-in chicken. Despite its popularity in Ukraine and many other countries, no one knows where chicken Kiev originated or how it earned its name. However, most people believe Russian cooks around the 19th century developed it. It peaked in popularity near the 1970s, but with the development of Nouvelle Cuisine in the late 1980s, it swiftly faded from favor. Solyanka, sweet and sour soup. Ukrainian cuisine is heavily influenced by the gastronomy of Russia, its neighboring country. That is why many well-loved dishes in Ukraine originated in Russia, and solyanka is one of them. This dish usually comes with sour cream, lime slices and dill. It is also an effective hangover treatment due to the amount of pickle juice in this soup. There are 3 versions of solyanka: meat solyanka, fish solyanka, and mushroom solyanka. All of them are delicious and unique in their own ways. The meat version has ham, beef, chicken breast, and sausages as the main component. It also contains other ingredients like chopped tomatoes, onions, cucumber pickles, and olives. The fish solyanka requires salmon, sturgeon, and freshwater crayfish. The veggies are similar to the recipe for meat-based solyanka. Moving on to mushroom solyanka, the locals use cut cabbage, tomatoes, cucumber pickles, and of course, mushrooms. They also briefly bake the soup with breadcrumbs and butter to flavor it. Borscht, beet soup. While you may think of borscht as a Russian food, many people cite Ukraine as its place of origin. So, if you want to try a quintessentially Ukrainian dish, start here. It's one of the most popular Ukrainian foods and the one that you're most likely to know. The recipe for borscht differs from kitchen to kitchen, but the basics are the same. Borscht is a beet, cabbage, onion, tomato, garlic, and veggie soup topped with dill and sour cream. The soup is sometimes vegetarian, but you can add beef or pork, and beef broth is an often used base. Some cooks add carrots, potatoes, celery, and even sugar. I've seen people who hate beets be pleasantly surprised that they like them in borscht. Stirring sour cream into the soup cuts the earthy flavor of beets significantly and adds to the overall experience. Okroshka, summer soup/cold soup. Okroshka is called a cold soup for a reason. Overall, okroshka is a super refreshing dish that combines the lightness of raw vegetables and the fresh taste of kvass, an authentic Russian drink, made from fermented rye bread. Despite its Russian origin, you can't deny the popularity of this classic soup in Ukraine and nearly every other nation across Eastern Europe and North Asia. The locals love to enjoy this soup during the summer to combat the heat in Ukraine. They always serve it cold, and sometimes they even put ice cubes into it to maintain its coolness in hot weather. Bublik, Ukrainian-style bagel. If you consider yourself a bagel fan, bublik is undoubtedly a must-have. Bublik is a term used in Eastern European nations, primarily Ukraine and Russia, to describe a round, yeasted bun that looks identical to an American bagel. Although the appearance of bublik is similar to American bagels, this Ukrainian treat is denser and chewier in texture. Plus, bublik is not considered a breakfast item like bagels. Many believe this famous Russian appetizer originated in Krakow, a city in Poland, since it was first mentioned in the community regulations of this city in 1610. The bagel moved across Poland to all locations with a significant Jewish population and eventually reached Ukraine. Pampushky, Ukrainian garlic bread. Pampushky is the epitome of garlic bread. With a soft billowy texture and flavorful garlic toppings, Ukrainian garlic bread will surely make your mouth water. These lovely yeasted buns from Ukraine come in both sweet and savory varieties. The sweet form is frequently loaded with jam, berries, cottage cheese, and fresh fruit, while the savory variant is usually seasoned with garlic sauce and eaten with borscht, Ukrainian beet soup. German colonists may have been the ones who brought pampushky to Ukraine. These delicious buns became a popular national dish at the end of the 19th century, eventually gaining status as a typical Ukrainian dish. Olivye, Ukrainian potato salad. The original form of the salad was created in the 1860s by a Belgian-born chef named Lucien Olivye. He served this refreshing appetizer to the regulars of his restaurant called the Hermitage, which is one of Moscow's most renowned restaurants. This salad immediately became a favorite at the Hermitage. It eventually became the restaurant's hallmark dish and one of Ukraine's most famous appetizers. The recipe for olivye calls for diced veggies, eggs, dill pickles, and some types of meat. After mixing these ingredients, it will be coated with mayonnaise and seasoned with mustard, salt, and pepper. Holodets/Holodets, meat jelly. This gelatinized pork dish served with horseradish is prevalent in Eastern European nations, not just in Ukraine. Although, yes, the term meat jelly may not be that enticing, you would change your mind after just one bite. The dish's name comes from the Ukrainian word holodny, which means cold. You can often see this dish at important celebrations like New Year Eve. The locals often use beef chuck, pig's feet, hocks, bone broth, and other aromatics to achieve this exciting meat jelly dish. Back in the day, people had to cook meat for a very long time to turn it into jelly. Nowadays, using store-bought gelatin is more common since it is less time-consuming and more convenient. Salo, cured pork fat. Everyone knows the Ukrainians love their salo, not only for its unique taste but also for the health benefits it brings. Pork fat is high in vitamin D and A, which helps with brain function, digestion, and detoxification. Although this dish is quite unusual, Salo is frequently regarded as one of Ukraine's primary icons. In fact, it is so well loved that the locals hold 2 annual festivals for this dish, one in February and one in September. Salo can be eaten raw or cooked. The locals frequently fry or coarsely mince it with garlic and pair it with a famous traditional beet soup called Borscht. The people in Ukraine love to eat this nutritious snack with horilka, a popular Ukrainian beverage. Another option is to slice Salo thinly and place it over garlic rubbed dry bread. Instruction before eat: check food is halal or haram. To subscribe Travel and Taste channel and like videos. For further videos stay connected.